Good morning, guys. So, as you guys know or saw from last week, I went ahead and did cut that fender. I cut the other one as well. Um, we're kind of backtracking here a little bit, and I'm not saying backtracking is. I got new gauges in, so I'm gonna run all that stuff. And since I'm gonna have the interior apart, I already started. I wanted to show, since I have the interior, I got to take the interior apart to run the gauges because I have to take the hump out so I have easier access to all the sending units and stuff like that I got to put in. But so that one access panel I put on the other side, let me show you. So the seat is technically still in. I just took the cushions off. So let me show you this. So with this one panel out, why I made the one panel removable, right there's the oil filler. So I can change the oil, take this panel off, so I can fill it back up. So I just wanted to show you guys that real quick, my thought process on why I put this piece in. I don't know if I explained it before or not, but that's why I just put a little funnel right there and fill up the oil. I am going to do an oil change on this too while we're doing interior stuff or all this stuff with the motor. But yeah, now the gauges that I did get, these ones are going to go bye-bye. This whole panel is going to go bye-bye. And I'm going to use my original panel that I made for the GMC. Where is it? Right here. So the gauges that I got for this are the exact same gauges that I used for the GMC. So it's going to have these guys on both sides. So whatever, gas, oil, temperature, volt, RPMs, and then speedo. Basically, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to run this, but the speedometer is still GPS, and I did get these. These are Dolphin gauges, like I was saying, but there they are. So it's the old school vibe. I like the white faces. The chrome rings, okay, whatever. But I know these gauges work because I had them in my GMC and I had no problems, meaning with the fuel sending unit, pressure, because right now this gauge reads all over the place for oil pressure. And it does come with a new sending unit. It's a 0 to 90 ohms sending unit. Mine is like not that. So I kind of forget, but I think mine, the one that's in there is like something to 233 or whatever, which is what the gauge in there requires. And the gas tank sending unit is working, but the gauge is not. So I'm done. It was a gamble. I thought I'd give that a whirl. My biggest thing is just GPS speedometer, right? The Dakota Digital has really nice gauges, but they're like $1,400. But they don't offer. At least I don't see it. They don't offer the GPS feature for the speedo, and I kind of like that. That way I don't have to run a cable up, this, that, and the other thing. And with something like this, less figuring out cable runs and stuff like that, the better, right? Also, since I'm going to be taking this all out, I'm going to be lowering the seat 2 inches. So I've already put my marks here. I'm just going to cut those and re-weld the tabs on, and that's it. That's all that's going to happen. And then with that being said, I have to cut the center back out. I know I cut it out, then I put it back in. I cut it out, I put it back in. But I'm going to cut that out so it drops the seat lower. I mean, I don't mind the height, and I'll tell you why I don't mind the height. When you're up in there sitting, the hood goes just like this. So with you sitting a little lower, it's harder to see the front of the hood, if that makes sense. But you know what? I'll deal with it, but it will drop me down 2 inches. So I'm not like, when I'm like this, I'm not like this to look out the back window, if that makes sense. Like, ooh, oh man, instead of, anyway. So I'm going to lower the seat two inches down. So these are the things that you kind of go with. And since I'm going to be working on the interior, I ordered some more of the sound deadening since I'm going to have it all out. I am not sure when it's going to be here. The stuff that I normally ordered, they don't offer it anymore on Amazon. So I'm kind of bummed about that. But because that stuff's amazing. But anyway, so right now I'm just working on getting the engine hump off. I want to see how much of it I can get off without having to take the seat out. So this is kind of like an exercise in that as well. Because if you're on the side of the road or whatever, you don't want to have to pull your seat out. Yeah, you can lift up some carpet pieces because the carpet pieces will be all separate. You know, there'll be one piece that goes over here, one piece that goes on both sides, and that's it. That's kind of like how I'm thinking about the carpet. So I can just, and it'll probably be put down with like Velcro or something, you know, Velcro strip, so I can just like that. But yeah, it'll be 3 pieces. So the hump, it will be 1 piece, and then the 2 sides will be 2 other pieces. So we are going to start taking this apart. I already started taking apart, but you kind of get the idea here what I'm doing. So let's do that. We're going to pull the gauge pod out. We're probably going to take the front off, you know, the front nose cone, so I have better access to the wiring. Also, now I see why the gentleman cut the bolts for the windows, for the front windshield. So out of four hinges, I have 2 that work. These have been soaking for a week, meaning like right here, I spray them and then I put some transmission fluid on them, and they're still not freed up. And then this whole part, this whole section right here is gone, is all rusted out. And then the same down here over on this corner. So I have a feeling I will not be using these window panels, you know, to fold in and out. I think I'm just gonna finish. There's 2 spots. I know I'm throwing a kind of a lot at you guys. How much of all this I get done this weekend, who knows? But just know that this is the next phase of what I'm working on. So with the glass, here is fine. There's got a lip all the way around, but then right here where the hinge would go, and right here where the hinge would go, is missing. So I just have to bridge that. There is a vent tube or like a water tube right here. That probably went because of the seam. If the seam ever leaked, there's channels that come down right here, and then the water runs right down there, and actually it would run through the firewall and then into the outside. So I have to remove this tube right here because it's kind of in the way for the flange. Then I got to make templates and have glass made and put in. It's flat glass, so I'm not too worried about it. The guy that did this 442, my GMC glass, whatever, he makes glass. It's pretty expensive to have him do it. But there's another company just 40 minutes away from me north in Ocala that also makes flat glass for classics. So I'm going to give them a ring and see how much it would be, because they actually come to your location. I don't know if they make templates there while they're here and they cut it here. That I don't know. But they're only 40 minutes away up in Ocala. And to have the glass made, why not? To buy all the glass is like 400 bucks, right? For flat glass. So, yeah, I still have to take apart the frames for these guys, and those are all kind of rusted. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out as I go along with this glass stuff. It's not like I can just go to classictrucks.com and purchase glass for this. It's that kind of special. But that's okay. I kind of like working on that kind of special stuff. So with all that being said, I'm going to just start tearing into it and see what I can get apart without having to take the seat off, and we'll go from there. So here we go. So the seat has to come out to get the big main hump out. Okay. So now I know because it hits right here. All right. It's okay. All right, let's get the seat out. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. No, it doesn't. The seat does not have to come out to get this out, but the front panel does. So this panel is just these three, 1, 2, 3, and there's one right here, down here, that holds that together. Once you take this bolt out and you take these three, this part comes right off, and then that, you tilt it, come through, and then back out. So that's awesome. That's awesome. I haven't checked anything here since I did everything. Okay. It looks like we're gonna have to flush the radiator some more. Yep. Okay. Well, that's why we're doing it. That's why we're taking it back all apart, changing out some sensors, doing my wiring up here, and then I'm probably gonna take the alternator off. That alternator, if I'm gonna go with electric AC, that alternator needs to be a minimum of 125 amps. So I'm going to take the alternator off, take it down to the alternator shop over the week, and they rebuild alternators and stuff like that, and then ask them how much it's going to cost to build this or redo this with a one wire for with 150 amps. And then probably also what I'll do is I'll be putting in 2 batteries. One for your main starting, and then one to run kind of everything else. They'll be connected together, of course, so probably they'll both start it, but that's my goal. 2 batteries, alternator upgraded. But yeah, so let me, and it looks like the radiator or the coolant system here does still have some rust in it, at least from when I just opened it. Yeah. Yeah, it still has rust in it. So what we'll do is we'll flush that out since I'm taking everything apart. Yeah. All right, so let's start finishing this teardown here. All right, guys. So I got the old gauge cluster out. So I'll save these for probably nothing, but I'll have them. So with these being differently spaced throughout here, I'll have to drill my other hole for this guy right here. I'll have to put this up in there and then trace so these can come through because that hole is really small. So I'm going to do that real quick. I mean, I want to kind of show you every little thing that I'm doing, but it's hard to get up in there. So what we'll do is I'm just going to kind of tell you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to do it, and then I'll bring you in to show you. But I mean, you kind of seen me do this before with these gauges. I'll have to change out the oil pressure sensor, the coolant temp sensor. I'll have to see if that fuel sending unit will work with my holes that I've drilled for that other unit. If not, I'll have to get, they do sell the unit like that one that I already have in there. They do sell that in a 0 to 90. So I have no problems purchasing that, drop it in, and then run it out. So first off, I'm going to drill this hole, and then I'm going to mount it up there and trace it, and then you'll see. So that right there is what I got to open up. There, a little bit on top, and then the same over there. Actually, let me, I'll set you up in here. I got the magnet thing going. There we go. So let me take off the steering wheel, quick release here, like that. We'll put this back on so we don't lose it. So we will trace that through here, through here. A little bit off from that, through there, and through there. So those are the areas that we have to cut. I do have to get longer quarter 20s still to reach through all that. There we go. So to make this a little bit more like a solid cut here, we are going to go like that, and then come down a little bit past that, and then right there. I'm going to go a little bit bigger because there is a bracket that goes back there. That's too bad because I welded all that up, but this is going to be way more better as far as like the gauges go. Because these gauges will work. Whereas what I'm having a problem right now, the gauges don't work. Well, one does. The temperature. The temperature gauge works. Okay. Okay. So I got the holes all done. Yep, this is hot rodding, guys. Okay, so let me get the wiring figured out here. I got a continuity test. I think I kind of remember all this stuff, but I have to put on the new connectors because the thing is these gauges has their own plugins. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do all that. And like I said, since we're working on the interior stuff, I'll probably probably kind of like clean all this stuff up. I just checked, and my sound deadening stuff will be here hopefully today, this afternoon. The only difference is it's not black; it's actually the silver color. So half of my cab on the inside, underneath everything, will be black, and the other half will be silver. It is what it is. They don't make the black anymore or whatever. I don't know. At least not the same stuff that I get. But it's the same stuff. It's just that it's silver. You'll see. So let me clean up this mess here. Get the wiring somewhat figured out here that's going on underneath, because it is different wiring. And then we'll be back. All right, guys. So I've basically taken half a day here and wired in the new gauges. Let me swap you around here and show you what else I got. Okay. So I put in the new water temp gauge here. I brought out the wiring, what I need here for the gauges. And I've got them all written down so I know which one goes to which one. The one I know for sure is this one. Well, I mean, I know what they all are because I got them written down, but this one is my fuel sending gauge. But let me show you that real quick. So my fuel sending gauge fit almost perfectly. I just had to wallow out one of these holes so it would fit. So there's the one that they sent me. So I'm getting 20 ohms of resistance right here, right? And I know why the gas gauge didn't work before, because there wasn't even any fuel touching the float. So yeah, so there's that. But anyway, these gauges are a lot better gauges, I feel. So I used the same connector right there. So I'm reading 20 ohms right here. Grounded to the chassis in the back. And then when I ground this wire up with my ohms reader, I'm getting 20 at this. So that is correct. So that makes me happy. This right here, white or green, is my tach signal. White is my oil pressure, I think. I wrote them all down. So oil pressure is the white, water temp is the blue, fuel is the yellow, and tachometer is the green. And that's all these right there. And it's about to rain. Actually, it is raining. And then down here, I've got my new sending unit for the oil pressure already installed. I gooped it up, the threads or whatever. We cut out the hole, which I showed. And now what I got to do is put that gauge cluster up in there. Actually, let me show you the gauge cluster. So here's the gauge cluster. So what you do is, what I did, and I did for the GMC, I put all my lights. So this is when you turn on the light switch. This turns on all the lights. This right here is all the 12 volts. Key on, right there. And this is the ground, right? So the voltmeter is just, ground light and accessories, or 12 volt on. And then the fuel, the green wire here, is for the sending unit, tachometer, water temp, and oil pressure. So when you flip the whole unit around, and that's what we got. So I've got volts down here, fuel level here, speedo, tach, water temp, and oil pressure. So now I have to get this all in, and then I got to wire up all the sending units. And then we're going to see if everything works, besides the light, because I don't have the light switch, which is right here. I may run that while I'm at it, just so it's in the dash. Yeah, that way if I flip on the light, which would be this one right here, this one is auxiliary, which will throw out to all the lighting, right? Battery goes here, and then it tells you tail lights, park lights, headlights. Real easy. And this I had from the GMC. So it's a GM knob, but it's a universal. There we go. We'll be back. All right, guys, so we've got it all wired up. So what I did find out is that hold on, let me swap you around. I have to remove the volts, fuel level, water temp, and the oil pressure. I have to take those gauges out in order to get this panel in because the steering is so high up. That's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set you up here. It is powered up right now, meaning I hooked the battery up. So let's get you set up in here and see if all these gauges work or not. It's been about, what, 4 hours, 5 hours since I put the sensors in. It should be plenty of time to not leak. So we'll find out. All right, guys, so here we go. Everything's doing their sweep. The volt's right. The fuel level is coming up. It did read 20. Oil pressure and what have you. So 2 cranks, 1, 2. So let me put you up here real quick. All right, we're in park. Oil pressure is reading 50. Water temp is 0 because I just started it. And that was a cold start, guys. When I take that alternator off, I'm going to clean up the pulleys. So maybe that'll help with the squealing. All right. Let me grab my flashlight and make sure nothing's leaking. Nope, nothing's leaking. So let's let that, see if the temperature will come up. All right, let me swap you around here. So my temperature is reading 140. Oil pressure is a little under 40 now. Volts, yeah, 13 something. Fuel gauge is now working. The RPMs are kind of jumping. I'm not sure about that, but you can hear it. Okay, we'll get that up to temperature. I mean, it's at 140, but we'll try to get it up to like 180 or so. So we will be back once that hits temperature like that. So far, no leaks anywhere. I think the plugs are starting to foul out just because it doesn't get ran. So I'll probably, not today because it's hot now, I'll probably pull out the plugs and then just give them a look-see, see how they're firing out, because you can hear it, right? All right, we'll be back. All right, guys, I can't get this thing past 160. The thermostat keeps opening it up and cooling, so that's good. So, yeah, let me give you a whirl here. Let me show you. It's been about 20 minutes just sitting here idling, and I come in and I rev it up a little bit. But yeah, there it is. Yep, everything seems good. All right, I don't like the squeal. All right, not bad. So now I'm going to let this sit and get heat soaked. And then I'm going to just turn it to the on position, and then I'm going to see what the temperature says. It should rise just sitting here without any circulation. Basically, I'm just trying to see, just making sure that the temp sensor works. I mean, I see that it works, but for some reason, I think this should be at like 180 right now. But, well, the thermostat is a 160-degree thermostat, and I did drill an 1/8-inch hole in the thermostat just, to get the bubbles out or whatever. But I'll be back in about 5 minutes, and we'll just flip it to the on position and see where that gauge goes, because right now it was sitting just below 160. All right, guys, it's been about 5 minutes. Let's flip her around and see where she's at now. Okay. Yep. About 170 now. Let's see how it turns over. No problem. Looks good to me. Alrighty. So no leaks from replacing the sensors. Fires up. It really needs to be run out. Like, yeah, because those plugs are fouling out because I'm only backing it up a little bit. So I'll probably take out the plugs like I was saying, clean those up a little bit, and yeah. But I think that's going to be it for today. Not a lot of excitement today due to the fact that it was just wiring, soldering stuff, rerunning it all, getting that panel to work, opening up the dash for that panel. There's one thing that maybe I don't know. So I was going to put in this headlight switch right here, and you can see, you've got your park, headlights, taillights, battery in, and then auxiliary. So when I turn it into the on position, so it should have like my dash lights, my tail lights should be on, my parking lights should be on, right? And then when I put it fully on, my tail lights are on, my headlights are on, my park lights are off for some reason. And this to this is always hot. The continuity is always there. So I don't know. I don't know why the park lights would shut off when I have the headlights on. I mean, I guess because I'm not parked? I don't know. So with that being said, I may jump because I need one of these for the dash, for the dimmer switch, right, for the dash. So I got to figure that one out. It just doesn't quite make sense. Anyway, I'll figure that out because I wanted to put this in, but if it's not working correctly or something, then the brake lights are going to be easy because the brake lights will be ran off the pressure switch. So that'll just run back there to the brake lights, right? And then the turn signals will be through the steering column turn signal. That's just a relay. That's just flashers for that. So I don't know. I'll see what goes on with this one. And I got to figure out where I'm going to put it in the dash. I'm thinking I'm going to put it above the ignition switch because on the other side there's no room. On the other side of the cluster, let me bring in. All right, so here we are. So there's no room on this side, and I don't want to put it up here because it's so large in the back. So I was thinking of just running it just basically just above that, right? That's what I think. I mean, why not? I can put this wherever I want. I mean, I could even put it down here, but I don't want to. So I'm thinking it's going to go in line with this right there. So it's just the headlights, and that's what I think I'm going to do. As long as I got enough room on the backside, because my panel is right here for all the electronics, and it'll make it really easy to run everything for sure. And then right there is the headlight the switch for the lights for the dash, and that would run right over. So either way, I think I'm going to put it right there. Just got to drill a small hole, teeny tiny hole, put this in, and then go from there. All right, guys, until tomorrow. Good morning, guys. So today, I've been running around this morning. I got everything for the oil change. I had to recycle some oil. But I think what today I'm going to do, besides change the oil, is I'm going to mount the headlight switch. So I'm going to put it above the ignition switch. So it'll be, right in this area on the inside. I showed you kind of where I was going to put it yesterday. I'm going to have plenty of room for it right there. And it'll give me access to it real easy. And since I have the gauges all in, I want to make sure that part will work with this, because I'm confused on how this is working, right? I explained it a little bit yesterday about it. Like, I see clearly park, taillights, headlights, battery, and then I have an auxiliary one. So I'm thinking the auxiliary would be the dimmer switch for the gauge cluster, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to drill a small hole first to make sure that everything is good right there. And then we're going to go ahead and mount this sucker. And also probably, I think I have enough wire. I'll probably run my leads down to the headlights, because I do have the headlights. While I'm in there doing wiring and stuff, might as well. It'll be a lot easier to do it now since I'm doing interior, back into the interior stuff. Yeah. I did get in my sound deadening for the rest of the cab. So it is the same product, except it's not black. So it'll be okay. I mean, you won't really see it at all once I figure out all the coverings and stuff in the back. But I kind of wish it would have been black, but it is what it is. So I may try to find some black, like search around and see if I can find the black, and then just save that for something else. But if I can't, I've got that ready to go. So I'm going to climb up inside. I'm going to drill the hole and then get this mounted, and then run the battery over with a jumper, and then I'm going to test the function of the dimmer switch, or the dimmer lights for the gauge cluster, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so let me set you up in there. I'm going to drill a hole, and then we're going to mount it, and we'll go from there. So Mike just stopped by. He wanted to finish timing it and what have you. So now she runs really she runs a little better. She's quicker on the startup. He says that the timing was it was a little slow on startup, so he didn't care for that. Of course, my timing light broke because that's just the way it is. We turned the idle down, or turned the idle up, and then once we adjusted the timing, turned it back down. That squeal still bothers me quite a lot. I do not like that. I know it's a little loose, but that kind of sucks overall. But anyway, so back onto what we were doing. So I'm going to drill the hole right there for the light switch. All right, guys, so I've got it ran, so it should. Whew. Yeah, see, that's not supposed to do that. They light up, but all the time. Huh. When the key is in the on position, they light up. I mean, I'm okay with that. Pretty cool. I don't think they're supposed to light up all the time, though. But I'm gonna take that as a win. They all work, so I got it wired right. Yeah, it'll be okay. Oops. Yeah. Anyway, that's fine for now. So they turn on whenever I turn the vehicle on. It's unique. It's like daytime running lamps, right? Maybe. Okay. So, let's see. What do I want to do here? I'm going to blow all this out. So like I said, Mike was here for about 2 hours, just kind of hanging out and doing the timing he wanted to work on. Yeah. So let's see what else we can get into. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out, or I'm going to cut the seat down now. Like I said, I was going to take 2 inches out because I like the height where it's at right now, like without the cushions. So if I drop that down 2 inches, I should be right where it's at right now with the cushions. Yeah, that way it'll bring the whole frame down, and that will mean that I'll probably have to take the seat in and out in order to take out the engine hump. But I've got an idea on that too, so we'll see. But anyway, So I've marked, oh, let me swap you around here. So I marked 2 inches out all the way around. So with 2 inches out, that should, let me put you right here, and that's not going to work. Well, that's not going to work. It's hard to set you guys up here, but just know I'm going to drop 2 inches out, and then once it comes down, I'm going to re-weld the plates back in, and it'll be awesome. So maybe right here. Ooh, there we go. All right, so here we go. Yeah. So not only did that drop that, but it also brought it back because now I'm underneath the window frame. Yep. Yepper. So I think that's going to be good. Let me just throw some clamps in it. Let me put the seat cushion back down and let's see how it is. Oh yeah, that's way more better. Now it's like just looking out the back window instead of having to go like that. Yeah, the front end is kind of nose down, but you know what? I'm just gonna have to get used to driving it like this. That's it. I like how that is. Yep, that's good stuff. Yep. Man, I could even move that out more. So it's more up front. Oh, I don't know. We may have to revisit that. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, let me weld her in. we will definitely let those cool down. I really burn those in. You know, for my seat, gotta be. That is way more better, lower. And that's kind of what this whole hot rodding thing is. You do something, and the more you sit in it and move it around, you're like, you know what, this should be this way instead. So that's why I'm glad I'm at that stage where it's not all together and pretty nice, and then I have to go back and do all this stuff. So it's good to do it now, just from pulling it in and out. I could tell, like, that's kind of tough, but I like it. Same with the gauges, that looks good. I like my light switch up there. I mean, it's perfect. I don't know. We'll be right back. All right, guys. So I got the seat all welded in. That's perfect now. I like it. Then I started to do the headlight switch. So I want to, since I got it all apart up front and all that stuff, I'm going to try to run the wiring for the headlights with the foot dimmer switch. I have the dimmer switch. I started I just started to do wiring on the relays. So for the high beams, for the low beams. So I have to run a wire from the headlight switch down to the foot dimmer. And then one is for low beams, and then one is for high beams. And then these are all going to be tucked up underneath as well. So it's going to go from headlight switch to the foot dimmer. Then one wire is going to go to the low beams, and then one wire is going to be the trigger for the high beams. And then the out to device are these ones. So this will go to the high beam side of the headlight, and this will go to the low beam side of the headlight. The biggest problem is I don't have the right size wiring. So they recommend like 12 or 14 gauge wiring from the relays to the lights. So, and all I got is 18 gauge. So I had to ordered that. And then since I'm doing everything with the headlight, with the light switch, I want to run the wiring down back to the back. So, the turn signals, which I still haven't figured out yet. And then running lights, brake lights. Yeah, so that's that. So I ordered the wiring for it. It won't be here today. I also ordered tail lights for it. That won't be here today. Obviously, it'll probably be here like Wednesday or Thursday. Today's Sunday. So I'm thinking at this point, I'm going to wrap up this video with altering the seat, getting all the new gauges all into place with the working gate dash lights, and yeah, because there's really not much more going on here because I'm kind of out of parts, right? So this right here, that is a vintage air unit. I can go over this real quick. So this is a vintage air unit that I've had for probably 3 years. I never used this one. I used another one for the GMC. So, all it's missing is basically a vacuum canister, because this actually works off a vacuum solenoid for the heater side to open the heater valve up. It's missing some parts. We'll put it that way. So when I received this one, the casing was cracked right here, and it was missing the heater control valve. What else was it missing? There was something else that it was missing. I can't remember now. And the heater tubes and the defroster, because this actually has defrost, and the 2 vents for the defroster. I don't know. So when I contacted the person that I got it from, they were like, no problem. You can just go ahead and keep that one, and I'll just send you out a new one. So mind you, this was like pre-COVID or whatever. Oh yeah, and one of these vents was broke right there. So instead of just tossing this, I just kind of filed it out there. And it is the Slimline 11300U or VUZ-A. Slimline with defrost, standard louvers. So everything else it has, and I haven't opened it, so it's still sealed. So I'm gonna, maybe on the next video, when I do all the wiring for that stuff, maybe I'll run this up into the heater system, because I can still use the heater in this, and get that all plumbed through before adding the AC, because the AC, I need the AC compressor, and I do have a condenser. It's a big condenser. I have some stock fans over there from like different manufacturing vehicles. I think they're like Toyota and Nissan or whatever, and those will actually fit on that condenser for cooling for that. Oh, and a Trinity switch or a binary switch. It needs a binary switch. That's the other thing. So this will all work with the electric AC compressor. So instead of having to buy a whole kit, maybe I'll just buy the electric AC condenser, the heater control valve, which is like 20 bucks for that, and then figure that out. So probably, maybe, I have a feeling on the next video I'm going to take a day and run the wiring for the lights, brake lights, not the turn signals yet, brake lights, running lights, and headlights. And then maybe we'll start fudging with this up in there to see if it'll fit. I don't know. I just got it down from the loft area, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm okay with this being a little broke right here. It kind of matches the theme of the truck, broke. But yeah, I mean, I can fix this little piece of plastic, I guess. It was more because it was missing parts. So I appreciate everyone coming out here. I am sorry that I didn't really get to wrap up the wiring for the headlights and stuff like that, but I guess this should really be on its own separate video on that. Just so not the complexity of it all, but since I'm not running a harness, factory made harness, and I'm doing all this through my fuse box blocks and all that stuff, I don't know, maybe it'll help someone else out there. So that's probably what I'm going to be working on next week, and plus I'll have all my parts. So again, thanks for coming out and taking a peek, and hey, go on, build something cool, guys. One weekend at a time. Catch you on the next one. Bye.